Minister of Labour.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker, and very happy to be back at Queen's Park in the legislature talking about issues that are important to Ontarians across the province and, of course, to my constituents of Ottawa Centre. First of all, Speaker, I want to acknowledge how humbled I feel to be named as the Minister of Labour in Kathleen Wynne's government. It is a great honour not only to represent the people across the province, of course, but continue my advocacy on behalf of my constituents, my community in Ottawa Centre. And that's why, Speaker, I felt very compelled to speak about this throne speech because, in my view, this throne speech speaks to the values that I continue to hear in my riding of Ottawa Centre. Values around creating a fair society, of values around a economy that is based on fiscal responsibility, values around ensuring that nobody is left behind in our province, be it from an economic front or that on at a community level. So when I see messages around jobs, economy and fair society, Speaker, in the speech from the throne, I'm very happy to stand here and say that's exactly the kind of things my constituents in Ottawa Centre has been talking about. That's exactly the kind of things they want to see out of their government, where we are strengthening economy, we're creating jobs right at the local level, but also making sure that we are looking after at each other. We're also making sure that those who are vulnerable in our community are not forgotten. You know, Speaker, as I think indicated quite a few times in this legislature, that I visit my constituents door to door on a weekly basis. Over the last few months, I was out knocking on doors at least 3 times a week. I do this on a weekly basis, a regular basis, and you really get an opportunity to talk to your constituents. You really get an opportunity to hear as to what issues are important to them, not just doing this at election time, but doing it in between elections, because that's when people are talking and discussing about issues that are important. And the issues that I've heard about and the initiatives that we've been working in my riding very much speaks to Speaker, very much speaks to what has been articulated in the speech from the throne. So let me talk about jobs, for instance. Something that, of course, we are concerned in all parts of the province. We're especially concerned, Speaker, about jobs in Ottawa, as we've seen up to 10,000 jobs being cut off from the federal government. Most of my constituents who have been directly impacted by these federal job cuts. The question is, how do we help create those jobs? How do we reintegrate those individuals who live in my riding of Ottawa Centre back into workforce? How do we harness their incredible skill sets so that they can continue to grow a strong economy? I'm really happy, Speaker, to say that the government decided to extend the coverage of, for instance, the Eastern Ontario Development Fund, or EODF. EODF, which has been a very successful program brought in place in 2007, roughly $20 million a year investment in Eastern Ontario, had up to most recently, until 2011, had excluded urban Ottawa. So essentially, all of Eastern Ontario and also the rural part of Eastern Ontario was covered in EODF. Companies, employers were able to take advantage of EODF, but not those businesses, small and medium-sized businesses that are based in urban community. Now, my riding, Ottawa Centre, as you can tell, Speaker, is right in the heart of Ottawa. And a lot of these businesses, very innovative businesses, were not able to get access to this funding. And I was really happy to see that the government expanded the coverage of EODF so that urban businesses in urban Ottawa can take advantage of that as well. And I know Invest Ottawa, which is Ottawa's economic development agency, is working very hard with small and medium-sized businesses, taking EODF and leveraging those dollars so that we can create jobs and in particularly be able to target those federal civil servants who have lost their jobs because of the job cuts taken by the Harper government, and be able to create jobs through private businesses in our community. Again, a lot of my constituents. Another, I think, great initiative taken by our government most recently to help create jobs, to help create a great entrepreneurial spirit in Ottawa is the announcement to build the Accelerator Center, the Innovation Hub, in actually my riding of Ottawa Centre at Bayview Yards. Those who know Ottawa, Bayview Yards is a very vibrant part of my riding, but it's brownfields, it's been contaminated land which has been sitting idle for some time. And by working together with City of Ottawa under the leadership of Mayor Jim Watson, we are building Ottawa's first accelerator center or innovation hub. Same in the likes of Mars here in Ottawa or Community Tech in Kitchener-Waterloo. Given the size of our city, we did not had such a center, and I'm very excited that the province is investing $15 million to build an innovation hub right in my riding in Ottawa Centre at Bayview Yards, which is just a great place to build such a center to create the creative cluster. It's right on the LRT station that's be soon built in Ottawa as well, thanks to our government's $600 million investment in partnership with federal government and the City of Ottawa. But also the O train station goes to Bayview Yards as well. So it's a central location which is going to help all across the city and create jobs, especially jobs for youth and helping those youth to create businesses. Another very important theme in this speech from the throne. Another issue, a second important issue that I continue to hear, of course, is education. You know, Speaker, we know that all parents want to make sure that their children receive the best education. We want to make sure that they go to good schools, be it they in junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, or doing their postgraduate work at Carleton University. I'm very fortunate to have some of the best schools, some of the best teachers located in my riding. Both, actually, I would say all three boards, the Ottawa Carleton District School Board, the Ottawa Catholic School Board, and the French Catholic School Board. All these schools have been very active in the community. Of course, the kids are very engaged, doing a lot of different exciting things. But given that we are in a downtown riding, we do have a challenge around school infrastructure. Speaker, a lot of the schools located in my riding, some of them are celebrating their 100th year. They were built around the turn of the century. They are iconic buildings, beautiful architecture, but of course they are showing age. And given in the technology that we are so used to and putting in school, it's important that we invest capital dollars in renovate these schools. I'm really happy that a much more public school, which is located in the Glebe in my riding, is receiving $4.6 million to build a permanent addition. We've had some serious challenges, Speaker, in terms of accommodation of students, and especially in French immersion and regular classes. And the work that we've been able to do with the school board, this investment is going to ensure that both students from First Avenue Public School and students from much more public school are be able to accommodate properly. So very exciting announcement. But that was a very small part of the announcement, Speaker, because we've actually just, if you look at the English Public School Board, the Ottawa Carleton District School Board, we're investing in Ottawa $47.9 million. $47.9 million in schools across the city in the English public system. $15.4 million for Longfields Davidson Heights Public School. In addition, $10.6 million for Earl of March School, $5.3 million for South March Public School, $12 million to build a brand new school in Canada North. I know through the French board, we're making investments in Ottawa Orleans, in riding that's represented by MPP McNeely, and across the city. Important investment because it ensures that our students have good places to learn, that they have healthy environment in which they can get a good education, an extremely important priority for this government is investment in our education. I also have the great fortune, Speaker, to represent Carleton University, which is located in my riding. In fact, I don't live too far from Carleton University. And there, again, we continue to see some incredible investments that are going on. keeping in the true spirit of this speech from the throne. One in particular I will mention, Speaker, is the almost doubling in size of the library at Carleton University. McOdrum Library has been there for some time, and of course, as the university is growing because of our continued investment in the post-secondary sector through the Reaching Higher plan, we need to double the size of university, and I'm really happy to note that the Ontario government is investing $14 million in the library at Carleton University. Actually, the architecture is beautiful. I've seen the design, and as I pass by every day when I'm home through Carleton University, you can see the incredible construction that's going on. Of course, all this work, Speaker, also creates jobs. They're creating real meaningful, tangible jobs right in our community. The other area, which is, of course, very important to communities all across, and my community is no different, something that I hear often about, is healthcare. Making sure that we've got good healthcare available to our communities. And on healthcare side, Speaker, in my end, there's two things that I hear about. One is on the prevention side of the equation, to make sure that we're making investments to ensure that people are not getting ill, that they are taking all the necessary steps to be healthy. I do a lot of work with community health centers in my riding, which are just an amazing ambassador around prevention. Of course, looking at all the social detriments to health, taking the necessary steps that our community members are healthy, especially those who come from vulnerable backgrounds. At the Centertown Community Health Center, Speaker, most recently we announced the SCREEN program, which is a diabetes prevention program. In fact, the day of the announcement, I went through the whole process as to what members of the community go through to determine whether they are susceptible to diabetes or not. And the day that I was there to announce the additional funding for the SCREEN program, the Latin American community, the Spanish-speaking Latin American community, was sort of targeted. So you had all the nurses, the physicians, the social workers who were there, the dietitians who were there, were fluent in Spanish, going through the whole process to again determine the risk factors, to be able to then, if risk factors are high, to then work with these community members so that they can prevent getting diabetes and all the subsequent negative impacts of that. So that's an important thing around prevention, and there's many examples like that in my community and communities across Ontario. But then there's also things like making sure that we get good primary care right at the community level. One of a great community initiative that I'm really proud of, something that my community in Ottawa Centre, and particularly the neighborhood of Hintonburg, Speaker, has been advocating for, is to create a community health center hub, a Hintonburg hub, as we are calling it, where we can bring the primary healthcare providers, we can bring social workers, we can bring dietitians, we can bring support for seniors, all in one place. Now, this particular neighborhood in my riding is rather unique because there was lack of healthcare services. The closest thing was a hospital, and last thing we want is, when people are not feeling well, is going to the emergency room, because that's not the place for them to get care. So by making an investment in the Hintonburg hub, we are actually creating a one-stop shop in my riding where local residents can get care. This particular hub, which is getting roughly about $350,000 a year operational funding, Speaker, through the Champlain Local Health Integration Network, or Champlain LIN, which is responsible for Ottawa, will allow roughly 1,200 new patients to be looked after per year. That's a very significant outreach to a vulnerable community, and making sure that they have healthcare services available to them just down the street, as opposed to going somewhere farther. If I look at the location of Hintonburg hub, which is being placed at Rosemont Avenue, you've got a a seniors residence literally half a block away. So those seniors, the community housing, are able to walk and to get services right across from the location of Hintonburg Hub. We have a nursing home, a long-term care facility that's also available, that there is homes or residence that's run by Salas, people with mental health challenges. That's right across the street. Really a great location where people can get services, especially those who are vulnerable, who are more susceptible to get illnesses. We can work on the prevention side by making this very important investment. I want to congratulate my community. I want to congratulate the board and the executive director of Somerset West Community Health Center for their advocacy in making this very important investment. Another, I think, important issue, speaker, is looking after a senior or people with disabilities. Again, ensuring that they continue to live in their own home as long as possible, because that's where people are healthy. As I am out in the community knocking on doors, talking to seniors, I'm talking to their children, they all tell me that they want to live at home. They want to make sure that they are able to get services close to at home, as opposed to going to a nursing home or a long-term care facility. Most recently, through Champlain Lane, we announced in Ottawa $11.1 million towards community care, really going to the essence of the action plan on healthcare that Minister Matthews laid out, which is part of this speech from the throne, where we are again ensuring that people are living at home longer, they're getting care within a community setting at the right time, at the right place, as opposed to they going to the hospital, which is another expensive model of getting care. This $11.1 million additional dollar, which is on top of what's already being invested, is a very significant investment to ensure that various agencies in my community of Ottawa Centre are able to provide community care through providers, healthcare providers, social service providers within a community level. And again, I congratulate the Minister of Health through the Action Plan on Healthcare for that very important investment. Last thing I'll mention, Speaker, on healthcare side of things, which I think is very also exciting, is you may recall Minister Matthews had announced 2 birth centers as pilot to be created in Ontario for low-risk birth. One is in Toronto, and most recently, the Minister announced the second one will be hosted in Ottawa. Amazing initiative. The community is just absolutely excited that this another alternative model of delivering babies is being actioned upon. And the second site is located in Ottawa. And Ottawa is very suitable for the second location because we are a bilingual city, so we obviously can collect data and we can serve communities both from English-speaking and French-speaking communities. Not to mention we have a huge rural part to City of Ottawa that can also have access to this birth center. So again, a lot of exciting things happening in my community, in my city of Ottawa, and particularly in my community of Ottawa Centre, all speaking to the core values of this speech from the throne, and that is to build a sustainable economy, an economy that's creating new innovative jobs. High-tech sector, of course, is an important element in Ottawa by creating things like Innovations Hub, the one I mentioned at Bayview Yards, but also putting the seed for building a fair society where we look after the vulnerables, where we look after our elders to make sure that they have services that they need so much. So when we're making investments in things like birth centers or expanding funding for community care for patients with Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, we are really making sure that members of our community are getting care at home where are most comfortable, where they can live with dignity. Places like investments like Hintonburg Hub, which Speaker, I can speak for hours because it's a kind of project which I think we need all across the community. We're bringing different community service providers at one location and be able to then serve our residents. That's how we create a fair society. These are the practical aspects, translation, so to speak, speaker, by which we can create a society that looks after the vulnerable to make sure that nobody is falling through the cracks. And I'm really excited, speaker, that we've seen these core values outlined in this speech from the throne, and I encourage all members to vote in support of it. Thank you very much.